So how much weight have you lost?
Honestly, I haven't weighed myself since 35. Because I went back to school and I stopped fasting.
Why you gotta ruin my jokes, man? I was waiting on you to just spit a number so I could be like, that's how much I've gained.
Have you gained weight? I was going to tell you. I thought you lost weight.
Birthday week. I think what you're seeing is better mental space, a little more confidence.
The hypothetical weight is off.
Yes. For sure.
Oh, yeah.
It's that unnecessary mental weight that you're noticing is gone. Welcome back to Rated Radio with your hosts, Lexi Ray and S Dub. If you're new here, we're about to rate something the kids are listening to before we get into the artist matchup you came for. Going to do some storytelling in the middle, keep things interesting. Be sure to like and subscribe, give a 5-star rating or whatnot. Basically, let us know we're making your day less dull. Even though this intro is very dull.
It is. It is. You get 2 stars, my friend.
Aww. With that, Ray, what Billboard hit were we dumb enough to listen to?
Not Like Us by Kendrick Lamar.
What did you think?
Hey, yo, Drake, you want some ice for that wicked burn? Kendrick's beats in this song is super infectious. I have been playing this nonstop all summer, even though I've been having a brat summer, not gonna lie. But Kendrick flows right in with all of that don't fuck with me bullshit. So 5 very, very honorable stars, Mr. Lamar.
See, I think we're going to get into some of the age difference.
Yep, probably.
For a diss track, this isn't atrocious. Lamar has some solid lines and spots, and the drum and bass aspect of the song is enjoyable enough. On the flip side, though, the rest of the unchanging instrumental feels low effort, as does the repetitious chorus. The Drake disses are blatant to the point that you can't really relate to this unless you're just wanting to hear Drake get bodied, which is definitely not why I listen to music. To go further, I find Kendrick's cadence to be oddly paced at times, and I've yet to find his voice enjoyable. Very monotone, almost nasally, to the point that he sounds like a dorky psychopath. For what it is, though, I'd give it 4 stars, and that's mostly owed to the stronger sections of the lyrics. I recognize this is one of the current generation's favorite rappers. I haven't heard much Kendrick Lamar, so off my jock until something catches me. He's
been around for a while. I think he started in the 90s and then started to pick up steam a little bit in the early 2000s. And now he's like, I mean, he's an older man now. He's not like a young kid. But even the line, the trying to strike a chord, and it's probably A minor, just that the delivery of that, yes, my age is showing. Because maybe it's because I've been around younger kids working in elementary school, but
is that the Kanye West delivery kind of line where it's
minor.
Like minor?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. A minor.
A minor, yes.
Did you see that thing? We're talking about Drake. Did you see that thing?
I didn't.
Okay.
Did you? Did you Google it? Be honest.
I tried to look for something, but everything was
I tried to look for something.
Everything was fuzzy. And I don't understand that. Like, if it was a female musical artist or a female actress or something, like,
yeah,
there'd have been like 8,000 copies of it.
Who the Google. Fuck? How is that still not circulating?
But you can't find a Drake snake.
I can Google Janet's tit all day long, but where's the Drake snake? Tell me that, Mr. President. Where's the Drake snake?
As a reminder, we are here to talk about Outkast and Goodie Mob today, and we are going to get to that in just a moment.
Fuck Ray.
Every time you say Ray, I think of that motherfucker from Trailer Park Boys, like Ricky's dad. Is that where you're headed?
No.
Just, you're going to be pretending you're wheelchair bound and drawing money off the state so you can drink your liquor.
You know what? Ask me after the election. We'll see. Who knows?
With that, let's roll the intro. So we are going to start with Goodie Mob. All of these are Ray's picks. As a reminder, first album, Soul Food from 1995. This was my middle album.
This was my bottom album.
Out of the 19 tracks, I gave 11 5s.
I gave 2 5s.
Top track was I Didn't Ask to Come.
My top track was Free.
And my bottom track was CeeLo.
My bottom track was all the skits, which CeeLo was a skit as well.
I never would have anticipated saying CeeLo was a bottom track. You know, I just...
Well, he's just talking on the track, right? Yeah. So none of his talents are really being portrayed because he's just on the track talking about... I don't even remember what he was talking about. Do you remember what he was talking about?
There you go. There you go. That is why it's a bottom track.
Okay, there we go. Yeah.
Tell me what you thought about the album.
This unpolished and underground-sounding debut from the group containing a very young CeeLo Green. This was before he was with Gnarls Barkley and his single work. Big Gip, Cujo Goodie, and Timo Goodie out of Atlanta. This album has that classic Georgia rap sound that they're actually known for. Because of this, they are actually credited to having coined the expression Dirty South. These Southern boys work as a team as they remind me of Outkast, Tupac, and even the Nappy Roots.
Talk about gangster rap with some killer lounge vibes. It's as though Sade produced an album by Ghetto Boys or Mobb Deep. Hooks are sometimes sparse, and the instrumentals can be lacking in evolution of melody. Shorter tracks are needless padding, and it's a mood-specific kind of spin, but it's a ton of commendable old-school flavor here.
This album is actually known to be like a big deal in the hip-hop community.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And for most that aren't familiar with Goodie Mob, I was even talking to some people at work, and they know about the podcast, and I was like, oh yeah, we're doing Outkast versus Goodie Mob, and they were like, well, who the hell is Goodie Mob? But they know CeeLo, so I usually am like, oh, it was CeeLo's first group, it's an older group, and without giving too much away.
Part of me wants to not even correct you here.
What?
Because
Correct me.
I did it with No Doubt in our last episode, where you kept saying the album was called Return to Saturn, and it's Return of Saturn. But I listened to you say it so much without saying anything that I fucking said it. So
is it
Goodie?
Goodie. Thank you. Yes.
Like CR, my goodies.
Yes.
Right?
Because it's actually a play on words. It's Goodie Mob and good die. It's supposed to be the word good and die mixed together, and they actually coined. I'll get more into it in a little bit. They coined a word for combining two words and making a new word out of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll explain more. But
I knew
on.
the single here, by the way, but as far as like deep experience, I got into this group with Still Standing came out. 97, 98 was kind of my musical revolution, awakening.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there were some things before then, but next album we covered was Still Standing from 1998.
Mm-hmm.
What were you trying to say about that?
The album cover reminds me of the Black Eyed Peas album cover and the Dre album cover. I think it's the Still Dre album cover.
You talking like Ella Funk?
Yes.
Something like, okay.
It's got that border around it.
I've never thought about that.
But that's all I saw when I was looking at this album cover. But anyway.
Pretty sure this came out first. Anyway,
I'm pretty sure too.
This was...
Thank you, Shane.
This is my top album.
This was also my top album.
Out of the 15 tracks, I gave 14 fives.
Holy shit. I gave 5 fives.
My top track is Still Standing.
My top track was Fly Away.
And my bottom track was Gutta Butta.
And my bottom track was Gutta Butta. I wanted to love it because I loved the title of it. I loved the title of it.
And I still think it's a good track. It's just not something they would play on the radio.
Yeah,
you know?
I agree.
What'd you think of the disc?
While staying true to their classic sound, they expand on it by giving CeeLo a bit of a more standout during choruses. This group, on top of their lyrical chops, can definitely hold a harmony when they try. This was a more polished and focused album direction, and the rest of the group carries their own in their own verses.
This disc remains one of my favorites in the genre. The variety on display from track to track is much more in line with something from Outkast than Goodie Mob's debut. The choruses are stronger as well, and you can feel the creative tension making magic happen as CeeLo and Timo begin producing here under Babyface's direction. Also, yes, Babyface produced on this album. CeeLo's lyricism is some of the best ever on this LP, a definite must-hear album. And the next album we covered was World Party from 1999. This was my bottom album.
This is my middle album.
Out of the 14 tracks, I actually gave 9 fives.
I gave 3 fives.
My top track was all A's.
My top track was The Dip.
I dig it. Bottom track, Invitation to the World Party.
My bottom track was Street Corner.
And what'd you think?
Here they're getting a little bit more funkier as they lean into more of an Outkast sound. Outkast even has joined them on previous albums, but here they're a better match. As long as CeeLo handles the hooks, that's the shit that I like. An interesting collab with TLC was also an unexpected treat. that even featured the OG Lisa Left Eye verses. While this is a more mainstream listen, I still think it was an easy album to listen to.
A younger, more snobbish me once struggled to like much of this album at all, but I'm now ready to admit that this mostly unserious spin is pretty damn good. Fans of Nappy Roots will feel right at home with most of this. CeeLo's production does get a bit too Prince-level silly at times, but it's still 100 times better than any Ying Yang Twins release. And it's nice to hear these often super serious rappers just have some fun. Clearly rushed in spots, but solid nonetheless. I was talking to Lyndon about this recently because my wife took me out to dinner for my birthday to a brewery, but it's got a restaurant there too.
Oh, yeah.
And Codes and Lyndon met us up there, and we were talking about this, and it's one of those things like I would have invited the dude on.
Yeah.
It's been too much going on, and there's too much madness in my world right now.
It was also closer to the episode, us recording, so he wouldn't have had like any time.
Yeah.
When you're asking someone that doesn't do this on a regular to do this, it's a big ask.
He has a shit ton of interesting stories around both of the groups, though, and I would like to get those in at some point.
Another special, maybe?
Yeah.
Revisited?
I definitely want to have the dude on. He makes his own music anyway, but we were talking about, with this album in particular, when compared to some of what I hear currently, like that's big hip hop right now, I mean, this looks like a work of art by way of comparison to some of that shit. So
you sound very old.
And I mean, in '99, I heard it and I was like, it's club, it's low effort, seeming, you know, there's a lot of critiques I would have had back in the day that I don't feel like I have now. Maybe they just wanted to have a good time.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of a conversation that I just had with my dad when we went to the concert the past week, the Green Day and Smashing Pumpkins concert. We were talking about politics, which, you know, it can be done well or constructively, can be a good conversation. And I use the example of, well, Dad, maybe the world wasn't that different when you were younger. Maybe you were different because you cared less about the things that you care more about now as an adult. So to you, things were good because you didn't care as much. And he goes, well, you're probably right. I never thought about it that way. And I was like, the world, yes, the economy is very different, but people at their core, I don't think are different.
Nah.
So
humans are humans.
Yeah.
I mean, even when we were living in caves, essentially, it's the same damn brain.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Sorry, I was attempting to pull away from politics there, as you could tell, not just be like, I'm voting for the black woman.
No, but that perspective can be used in anything, not just politics.
No, yeah, for sure.
You think times are better at different points in your life because you're different at different points in your life. And you can sit here and pretend that you're not, but your influences are different at different points in your life. You have those friends that pop in and out of your life that influence you. So when you were listening to Goodie Mob, Goodie Mob, sorry.
Say what you want.
Sorry. When you were listening to them as a kid, you probably were like, because there were a lot of other sounds at the time. And now, with the sounds of today, you're looking back on it and you're like, man, that shit slapped.
Yeah.
Shit today suck. So...
It's interesting.
You know,
this whole listen, these are three
time.
very different, very, very different albums and a lot of solid talent behind it. Their music makes me feel like I'm in a tinted Cadillac on a dirt road.
Okay.
Just that basic, you know, in a wonderful way.
Yeah. Like you're chilling. Was there any album, because you listened to them growing up, was there any album that you're surprised didn't make it or that you would have covered?
From this group?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
I mean, for the longest time, it was just these three albums.
Yeah,
Outkast is the one that has the bigger discography that release after release, you know, was sort of...
Are all the members still living?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure. Okay, so to touch back on what I talked about earlier...
She got her phone
with
out,
the name.
y'all.
I do. All my notes are on here. I'm turning into you.
I'm about to grab a tequila bottle from over there.
So Goodie Mob is a backronym meaning good die mostly over bullshit. And yes, they coined the term backronym. It is not a made-up word. It refers to when a word is reinvented as an acronym. Cujo actually had his right leg amputated in 07 below the knee following a car crash, for those of you that don't know. like I said, they're credited coining the phrase Dirty South, which is funny because literally my hip hop playlist of like music that I listened to in high school is Dirty South playlist. So I was like, yeah, I fell for that one. The group even appeared, and I remember this. I don't know if you remember this. Do you know that the group appeared in the movie Mystery Men?
Yes.
Okay, so you did know that. And they were actually called the Not So Goodie Mob?
Yeah.
Okay, so they were superheroes in that movie.
So I didn't see a bunch of this group's music videos, but there was a small time in like 97 where we had cable or whatnot. And the thing that caught me was They Don't Dance No Mo. That's what made me go out and buy the album.
Okay.
They're still standing. And so I was used to seeing the group in that capacity. So yeah, when they popped up in that film, I definitely, oh yeah.
I was like, oh.
And in the years since, Dungeon Family fanatic, trying to follow most of what these people have done, doing a very poor job of it because there's way, way too much music in the world.
Yes. Yeah, I haven't had the pleasure of seeing them. Blue has seen CeeLo in Gnarls Barkley, so he is lucky enough to have done that. But I like the music. This was new to me, and I rated them higher than I expected, but more on that later.
Much like Bone Thugs, Goodie Mob is one of those groups where each voice is recognizable and stylistically distinctive from the others. CeeLo Green shines almost too bright at times, such as with Eminem as part of D12, but they're all talented, and their soulful, eclectic, and reality-conscious music scratches an itch in one of those hard-to-reach corners of the cranium. If you slept on them as some sort of Outkast wannabes, you've done yourself a big disservice.
Agreed.
Let's take a break. So, your wonderful music playlist, or story time here. Raven's music playlist was songs that fit your zodiac.
Yes, and Shane, you are a
Virgo.
Yes, and I am a
Libra.
Yes. What did you think of this this list, Shane? Did you get what I meant?
Oh, you're asking me to go first? We can do that.
Well, first, wait. Do you need an explanation of what I meant? Or are you doing your own interpretation? I'm allowing for either.
To be clarified. Oh,
Okay.
you want me to go ahead and go?
Sure, go ahead.
All right, so the song that I went with was Aquarius by Within Temptation. A bit of a throwaway playlist for me here. Sorry and shit. I went back and forth on lots of interesting concepts, compiling over 200 songs that I felt really fit my personality, thinking to dispel a lot of the astrology jargon people fall for, but ultimately decided to just throw together some songs that somehow mention astrology, along with my birth month of September, something equally ridiculous as a personality determinant. To be clear, I'm not anti-personality typing. I actually think that can help us sympathize with each other better, even if the most effective methods remain flawed because they don't account for the nuances which make us all unique. I'm rambling. Yeah. Astrology, however, is a collection of personality traits we mostly all relate to here and there. Sucks folks in with the mere power of suggestion, has failed all scientific scrutiny, and offers no notable predictive capabilities. That being said, my story here for the Aquarius song harkens back to a younger me who was still clinging to astrology's vernacular, and who loved the Harry Potter aesthetic. I once hoped Rowling would someday write a volume in the Potterverse dealing with the symbolic characters behind each sign. What that wound up evolving into was one of my poetry collections being called The Astrals, and using plenty of set themes within the writing. Also a reminder that Queensryche Warning was released the day I was born, hence why it caps this playlist. So yeah, that's it from me. Sorry, it was a jumbly mess of words.
Wow, you're fun.
Like I said, I was obsessed.
We're being hurtful now.
Yeah. You're on the cusp, right, Rayburn?
Yes, I am. Getting to me. And
did I ever do your star chart when we were young?
No, we tried to avoid speaking to each other when we were younger, and I'm beginning to see why.
I could still do it if you want me to. I can do
you
Blue's
can. Sure.
if you know when Blue was born, like time-wise. I know you and your siblings were all born at the same time, but if you know his, then I can do y'all's star chart and see.
I don't think his mother knows the time. He just appeared one day. She doesn't know how much he weighed.
Was he blue when he came out? Is that... No, because he just appeared.
No, he just showed up at home. She came home and he was there and he just never left. She was like, now I got to feed this fucker and give him games and keep him from killing himself.
Why is it just now 20 years roughly after having met the dude.
Yeah.
I am now trying to figure out why his name is Blue.
We've never told you.
I think we probably have, or that you and he probably have, but
Yeah. You know what his name...
We have done a lot of drinking together.
We have, and I don't know how we haven't talked about that. His name was supposed to be something else. I told you his mom got to pick his sister's name, and his dad was supposed to pick his name. Blue's name was either going to be Thorin Oakenshield, which is from his dad's favorite book, The Hobbit, or, in honor of both grandfathers, his name combined was going to be Ursel Oko. Oko from Blue's dad's side of the family and Ursel from Blue's mom's side of the family. And Blue's mom was going to deal with whatever his dad chose, but I think ideally she wanted something else. So out of nowhere, his dad just said, "What about Blue?" And immediately his mom was like, "Yep, let's do that. Let's do that." My dad had a friend growing up that he used to work with. His name was Blue. He was a super nice guy. I've never met a bad Blue. Yeah, let's go with Blue.
Okay.
And that's why he's Blue.
So
if he was green, he would die.
I love the character of Thorn, by the way.
Yeah.
But it would have been a bit strange for a human name.
At Blue's graduation, my dad still calls Blue Oakenshield. He yells so loud. He's like, "Oakenshield!" at his graduation, he still calls him that. And Blue Boy and Blueberry, that's what he calls him.
I will add that season 2 of Rings of Power has been way, way better than the first season was. And also, pro tip, if you want to keep your relationships with other human beings more interesting, I guess, if you want to keep things fresh, just get really, really drunk with your friends. You can always have the same conversations and just never know it.
Yeah. Look at us. Can I talk more about my zodiac now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, because we haven't even gotten into that.
Go.
Okay, so my interpretation of this, I've been getting into looking at playlists that are more centered around my zodiac or what Libras would listen to, or, like Shane said in so many words, what songs vibe with my particular zodiac. And I did the same for Blue because he is an Aries and we are supposed to be polar opposites of each other. Anyway, my song choice is Not a Love Song by Leanne Lawrence. This is an artist that I actually found on TikTok, and I only heard a snippet of her song and was hooked. So I went to Spotify, looked it up, and I will say, Libras are a lot of things. If you believe in anything or you like having a little bit of fun, Libras are a lot of things. We're indecisive, we're naive, we can be airheaded, idealistic, even little weirdos. But we are also soft romantics that like to charm and lead a well-balanced life. We are full of compassion, sociable. We try to be as fair as we possibly can. And at our cores, we try to be warm, which are all characteristics that I think that this song shares. So it's because of creatures like us that can make it easy to find good music like this.
And she just flipped me off with both hands. She thinks she nailed that like it was the fucking Summer Olympics.
Shane's gonna cut it like I did nail it. You are, right? Because you love me and it's our birthday month.
Don't I always?
Yeah.
Cut it to make you sound amazing?
No, I still listen.
Let's
Nothing? You're not gonna, that's it?
Let's go talk about Outkast.
You suck.
What do you want from me?
Nothing. You give me nothing. I accept nothing.
You know what that is? Balance.
He believes.
My gift to you.
Thanks.
Yeah, you guys, I'm secretly an astrology simp. I just like to give that off-putting vibe of
boring, like a fuddy-duddy.
So here's
Shane, I don't care.
I don't want to talk about astrology anymore.
I don't give a shit. I really don't.
A lot of people do, though.
I know, but I just want you to know.
It's one of those things, too. If I were ever single again, I would probably destroy any potential that I had with 50% of women who might be into me.
At least you wouldn't
just
be
by
fake,
saying
though.
I don't dig astrology. So.
And gay men, too.
What about gay men? You turn
off gay men, too. By the way, I didn't see Baby Reindeer, but I did see who you're talking about. Okay.
All right. Well, now that you've got that in my head again, let's talk about Outkast.
Yeah.
First album we covered was ATLiens from 1996. This was my middle album.
This was also my middle album.
Out of the 15 tracks, 15 fives. And you?
2 fives.
Top track, E.T.
My top track was Jazzy Belle.
And my bottom track was Elevators, the OMP mix.
And my bottom track was Mainstream. This unpolished and risky contribution is different and less mainstream than what made them popular. But the work of both Big Boy's Southern rap style paired with Andre's Loverboy rap style is a nice balance. But my observance is that amongst the funky R&B beats, that both of the group's headliners are fighting for the spotlight. I think they have a lot to complement each other on, but it needs to be more fine-tuned.
I would add, before I move on to my thoughts, that I know we define maybe popularity in a different way. Maybe we're speaking across each other in definition there, but this group was popular even before this album. Yeah. So, okay, that out of the way. I said my piece. I must
still think
on.
It's a little too unpolished.
Okay.
I know what I'm saying because I know the success of ATLiens. Like, I know how well-liked ATLiens is. But we're going to continue.
Yeah. Unpolished on one side, perfect rating on the other.
Yes, I know. Yeah.
It's cool. It's cool, right?
Sometimes we're on the same page. Sometimes we're not.
And I'm easy, right? Fives. I'm easy.
Yeah, you're easy. I'm clearly the more difficult one out of the both of us.
A younger me remembers thinking this disc managed the impossible, a blend of gangster rap with that of meditative, thoughtful lyricism. It was as though Naughty by Nature had been mixed with the likes of PM Dawn. I still feel the same overall some 30 years later. There are more flaws here than I recall. Repetition, some weak choruses, etc. Still a certified classic, though. And the next album was Aquemini from 1998. This was my top album.
This was my bottom album.
Out of the 16 tracks, I gave 12 fives.
I said it was my bottom album, and you look like you've been shot.
Yeah, a little bit.
That was a reaction, or like stung by a really big bee.
You ever have like a really strange realization when someone says some shit? Like your brain goes somewhere else completely.
Like, I don't know this person.
What went through my head was, man, my feet are on the ground right now.
Okay.
I'm telling you, like that threw my brain into a different gear.
Okay. This was my bottom album.
Right.
What did you say for fives?
I said 12 out of 16.
And I didn't say 3 out of 16.
Okay.
Yes.
My top track was Liberation.
My top track was Rosa Parks.
And my bottom track was Nathaniel.
And my bottom track was any verbal skit besides the very first one. I liked the first one. I actually gave that a 4.
Me too.
It's pretty. I liked it.
It wasn't the 5 that I got on the previous album, but
3.
What did you think about the album?
With this album being much more 70s centered, Outkast goes so far as to take 2 different genres from 2 different decades to create an interesting sound, mainly mashing up the sounds of the 70s and the 90s. Sometimes they sound like Tupac, sometimes they sound like The Roots, then other times they sound like Parliament or even James Brown. I will also warn you, they do like to storytell, so if you're one to look into subtext of lyrics, this is one for you. Although, in my personal opinion, we have too many featuring artists on the album that didn't serve the album enough.
Like the whole of Goodie Mob, is that what you're saying?
Yeah. No.
I'm gonna leave it alone. Very much a sibling to ATLiens' Spacey Cool, Aquemini has more mature sophistication. It's heavier R&B grit alongside electric funk. While it has lower points than ATLiens, the way this one's second half has gripped me increasingly over the years deserves tremendous praise, like the Tool equivalent of rap.
Okay. That may be why I don't.
Maybe. I don't know. I thought it was going to grab you. But maybe it's a slow burn.
I listened to Aquemini more when I was younger. And I still love Rosa Parks, which she sued them.
Oh, see, now I'm feeling even worse. These aren't like your first full listens. And normally I think about like, oh, okay, she just hasn't heard it enough.
I heard Aquemini because you burned me Aquemini.
Okay.
That's how I know about that.
Okay.
But I didn't have ATLiens or Stankonia. I had not listened to.
Stankonia or Stankonia.
Stankonia. I like Stankonia better than Stankonia.
You got that Stankonia.
Okay.
It's Stankonia.
Yes.
From 2000 was the final album. This was my bottom album.
This is my top album.
Out of the 24 tracks, I gave 13 fives.
I gave 8 fives.
My top track was Gangsta Shit.
I know I'm going to get shit for this, But it's such a good song. It's so fresh, so clean.
I like that song.
It's still good. I still I love using it in like my Instagram stories.
The majority of this group's big hits, like really big, more mainstream hits, I still really love. It's only maybe Roses that just...
Yeah, that popped off when it first came out. But now it's like, kind of corny.
My bottom track, the DF interlude. Again, it's like saying CeeLo is a bottom track on a Goodie Mob. I can't. That's Dungeon Family, the DF interlude.
DF, okay. Dungeon Family, okay. My bottom track was the I'm Cool interlude. I don't want... Bitch, go inside.
What'd you think about the disc?
Too many interludes. I like this strange but pimpin' spacey direction from Outkast, but those interludes, they gotta go. With sounds reminiscent of Prince, Childish Gambino, and Mos Def, even going so far as sounding like Anthony Hamilton or even Common. There is no denying that this partnership is talented, and many times it seems as if they were riffing off of each other, sometimes not knowing if it was going to pay off or not.
For me, I said the fringes of this outing are firmly in the realms of punk rock and pop. It's still Outkast, just clearly more mindful of their time and audience. It's actually verging on humorous, the juxtaposition here from radio hits to things clearly intended to be off-putting to the masses. The skits are an obvious misstep. Still, I like hearing them have blatant fun with their formula, have the number of tracks, and this would be a quirky winner.
A couple of other things that I want to mention about Outkast while we're here. They actually had 2 names that they were going to go with before settling on Outkast. They were going to be 2 Shades Deep and then Misfits, which I guess they didn't know was already taken.
Yeah, probably.
So, Andre and CeeLo and Sleepy Brown actually planned on forming a band called Pimp Trick Gangsta Click. I want to know why that never happened, and I want it now.
I'd agree.
They also tried to, a studio actually tried to convince Outkast to make their movie Idlewild, which originally was supposed to be a series of music videos, but then they realized it was going to be a much bigger thing, and that's the reason why it became a whole movie production. They wanted to make it more 48 hours centric than the direction that Andre and Big Boy wanted to take it in.
Like the movie 48 Hours?
Yes.
Okay, so I can still be a fan and say this, right? Sure. I have not seen Idlewild. Okay.
It's got some bangers in it. Macy Gray's in it. Paula Patton's in it. It's got good music. I hate to say it, but I always consider Outkast. Yes, they're together, but I always am like, are you a Big Boy fan or are you an Andre fan? And while I like them both, if I had to choose, I definitely move more towards Andre. I like his sound better than Big Boy. Sometimes Big Boy's raps can be off-putting to me a little bit. So I really like Andre's influences in the movie Idlewild. A lot of that piano, a lot of that older 1920s to 1940s sound in there.
See, I always liked Outkast as a group. I thought the player and the poet aspect, the conjoining of those really made sense for me in that time because I was a poet. Best friend was a gangster.
Yeah.
Not to take from Yellow Wolf, but for real, that
in the movie Idlewild, they're chalking up those titles a little bit more.
I imagine.
Like Big Boy is the gangsta. He's the one that does all the dirty dealings at the club, whereas Andre, who's his best friend, is the romantic who falls in love, who takes care of his dad, who all he wants to do is be a musician and play piano and write his own music. And you can definitely tell, like, Andre's like wanting to get out and Big Boy's wanting to get big and like be a big shot. And so they're just playing on their dynamic that they've already established when Speaker Box and Love Below and all that came out before.
Their music makes me feel like I'm playing SNES with childhood friends.
You should appreciate this. Big Boy has a fully equipped strip club in his house. I thought that was interesting.
You know, the dude just keeps scoring some points I'm not expecting to score, but...
And Andre can play many an instrument. He actually played all the instruments on Hey Ya except for the bass. So the gag of the music video of him playing all the instruments and playing all the people in the band, that's the bass is the only thing that he really wasn't playing. So
did you listen to his solo album ever?
Andres?
Yeah.
No.
The flutes?
No.
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
I know the internet is really torn, so I'm going to leave it alone. Maybe someday we will cover it. Go ahead.
No.
Oh, okay. Well,
I thought you were going to add on to it.
Nope.
Okay. For most of you that don't know, Miss Jackson, Outkast's hit, was actually a song that was written to Erykah Badu's mother. Andre was dating Erykah Badu. They had a really, really bad breakup. Erykah Badu broke his heart. He said he's been heartbroken twice in his life, and Erykah Badu was one of them. And they have a child together. But Miss Jackson was the apology to Erykah Badu's mom for how he made her feel. And they were the first hip-hop act to win Album of the Year at the Grammys.
I almost said rightly so. And then I realized, no, bro.
Yeah, no.
Don't go there. That's not what you mean. It's like, this is a talented group, but there's a lot of talented
Better
rappers.
late than never.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
What I love about Outkast is the duality on display. The constant mixture of styles has a near-perfect result. I also love how well they mask their samples, how they aren't afraid to let a DJ scratch like it's a guitar solo, and how often they put their friends on. Whether you're partying, cruising, or trying to have a deep moment, this duo's music is ready to provide the assist.
So the question must be asked, who won for you?
Let me have a little look here. Yeah, it was Outkast. It wasn't a blowout, but it was Outkast. And you?
Goodie Mob.
Really?
One for me. I was very, very surprised.
Who is Goodie Mob?
There's, you know what? You would know.
You know what's funny is half the time I mention that group, I think I do say Goodie Mob instead of Goodie.
I don't know why our brains want to do that. Like, I even go, it's Goodie Mob. Or, yeah, it's Goodie Mob.
It sounds gangster. Like
Goodie Mob.
Yeah, I like both,
Goodie
you know?
Mob.
They both have this, deserving. This is an excellent matchup, an excellent round of listens. Like, I liked all 6 of these discs. World Party being the big surprise because I think I only listened to that maybe once or twice. I bought it on sale when it was really cheap because a bunch of people didn't want it. And
you were like, yoink.
I didn't listen to it much.
Is another man's treasure.
Well, there was... Still Standing was just packed full of, it's poetry and it's street poetry. So much of it reminded me of Mobb Deep's Murder Music, which came out later, but you didn't get that with World Party.
If I would have done the double album, Speaker Box and Love Below, Outkast would have stood more of a chance. So I didn't put it here, and I also wanted to save you from having to cover a double album.
No, I'm actually interested now. I think maybe that's the special at some point. We just do a Speaker Box to Love Below, and we'll have Lyndon here and do a bunch of conversing about Outkast and the members and some of the side work, Dungeon Family, all that stuff. Because
maybe even cover the 2020 album from Goodie Mob.
Yeah, maybe so.
I'm curious to see too, because I think you are literally down the middle of both of them to me. I think you are both Andre and Big Boy. I think there are both sides of you because I've known you. I know that I'm running the streets. It's the thuggish ruggish bone. Like, I know that Shane aspect of it. So I see characteristics from Big Boy and you.
Meme,
what?
The kid. You ain't seen it? Okay.
And then the romantic, the poet from Andre. So I'm curious to see where you would fall today.
You know, it'd be funny. Is if it came down to a difference of the Where Are My Panties skit. Like, if that's what pushed one album over the other.
Yeah.
Where are my panties? Oh my God, where are my panties?
Can we just stop? We have to go. I have to go. I have places to be.
She doesn't.
I can't be here.
Stay tuned, because next time, Ray has given us to listen to.
Well,
me and you.
Okay, stop it.
Oh, mama and your cousins.
We are listening to Power Man 5000 and Rob Zombie.
I don't know why I didn't see Rob Zombie coming. You know,
I almost didn't put him in.
So the albums you picked for Power Man 5000 were Tonight the Stars Revolt from 99, Anyone for Doomsday from 2001, and Transform from 2003.
Yep.
Rob Zombie, you went with Hellbilly Deluxe from 98,
Yep.
The Sinister Urge from '01, and Educated Horses from 2006. Join us in a month. We'll talk about that. Voice cracking, so it's time to go. So yes, that's going to do it for now. Hit up our playlist, visit our shop, come find us online to get your voice on the show. And until next time, fill your world with music.
And whether you're a part of the Goodie mob or the Goodie mob, you're always welcome here.